Hi, everyone. It's Henry DeVries of Indie Books International. Welcome to this week's show on Agency Rainmaker TV. And this is the show where we look at how agency owners, advertising agency owners, direct marketing, PR, how they make it rain, how they find right fit prospects. And that's a secret to any business that you're able to attract right fit prospects because you have a specialty offering, you know who you're after, you know what problem you solve for them, it's a value to them, and it's at a profit to you. So let's look at how you make it rain. And we've got a special guest today, an author, Liz Leonard. She's authored the book Your Franchise Fast Pass. She's an expert in business because she helps people get into the right franchise. And Liz, it's so great to have you here today. What are you going to share with us?
Well, I thought I would share a little bit how I help people explore entrepreneurship through franchising. It's a great vehicle to consider. It's not for everybody, but obviously I've got a proven system, track record, strong brand presence. It's just a great opportunity for people that may not have thought about it before. So that's what I'd like to talk about. And of course, my book.
There you go. I certainly know that putting a business together, you have to think like, I'm going to franchise this one day, whether you are or not, because that means you're thinking about systems. But the beauty of buying a franchise, of course, is that they've already done that hard thinking and testing, the scientific experiments, if you will, and that's why there's such a high success rate for a franchise business. But let's get into your business because you're a consultant, you're a service provider. Who do you help, Liz?
Boy, I help a lot of people, Henry. Many of the people are in career transition. They may have been laid off. They may be unhappy in their job. They may be just seeking more. They may have the ability to be an entrepreneur, have been dreaming about their whole life, but maybe didn't have the courage or the money. So obviously that's, one major profile person that I help. I work with veterans. I work with families. We call them legacy builders. So I worked with last year, and they're in the book. They're called Team Simmons, but they are building a family legacy. So it's a stepmom and a dad and a son. And so that was really exciting. And we work with a lot of partners and investors. So I think those are kind of the big ones, in terms of profiling out people. But it's really anybody that is thinking about investments through franchising. And it could be a semi-absentee owner, which would be an investor mentality, or it could be an owner operator, somebody that's ready to get in, roll their sleeves up, get their hands dirty, and build a business and be an owner operator.
Was getting my hair cut yesterday, and a woman walked into the national franchise salon and just briefly chatted, brought something, did that, picked up an envelope and left. And then they all started talking and said, that was the owner. Did you know it was the owner? Um, she owns several of these and she goes around and checks on things. And so that was somebody who's not in the salon every day, but making sure the salon's run. Well, obviously, though, Liz, it's going to take millions of dollars to buy into a franchise, right?
No, it's not. And we actually have a section in the book that says kind of an aha moment. You don't need $1 million to open a franchise or to invest in a franchise. And we help people look at all different investment parameters, and it can be anything from $150,000 and under. And those are the service brand category. This is kind of a fun one. It's like an invisible franchise. People don't realize that it doesn't have to be a brick and mortar. Like you were in a hair salon yesterday. That is a perfect example of brick and mortar. But there's a whole other secret side of franchising that I reference in my book that are called home service brands. We have tutoring, we have coaching and training, and then all of the home service brands are anything to do with a piece of property. So from floor to ceiling, interior, exterior, there's a franchise to maintain, install, and warranty anything you need done. And those are actually, if you think about where we came from with COVID and everybody being home and investing in real estate, that particular sector of franchising had terrific growth because of that. And then, of course, you already referenced hair care. And I find that when people think about franchising, what do they go to first? Hair care, food, Those are the two big ones,
Yeah,
right?
sandwich shop. Okay, go
Sandwich
ahead.
shop. Right. And that is a significant investment. That is going to be at least $300,000 and up for a brick and mortar. It depends on the size of the location. It depends on what type of real estate it is, whether it's prime real estate, depending on the neighborhood it needs to be in. And those take a long time to open. That's another piece of information that we teach people about in our advising business, is to make sure you understand that if you're going to do like a hair salon you were in yesterday, that could take you, reasonably speaking, 9 months to 12 months to open, because there's so many pieces to a location. Where on the service brand side, they're much easier. There's lower employees, there's lower risk. It is not a location that you're waiting to basically have it all, landscaped out to open.
Yeah. My wife, who works in indie books, but her it's like her volunteer mission, and she's paid by this franchise, and she does home health care and home, uh, I don't know what to call it, but she helps 90-year-old women stay in their homes and live, because she's coming in and helping with things, checking on things and doing that. So there's all kinds of things. And that was a business that there's no brick and mortar, and the people who started it and who have the franchise um, operated out of their house, I'm sure. One of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, and we're going to get to how you help make it rain and what you know about making it rain, but one of the pieces of advice I'll give agency owners is don't tie all your wealth up in the business that you own. You need to get the money out of the business and do something with it and invest it. And one of the ways you can invest it, of course, is in the stock market. And over time, you're going to get 10, 11%. Or you can invest it in a franchise business that you run as a side business, and returns can be far greater than that. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point to diversify your portfolio. My husband and I are perfect examples of that. Real estate, businesses, passive income. And so it just really kind of spreads your wealth out so it's more balanced. But I think it also kind of lowers your risk. You don't have all your eggs in that one basket like you referenced. But one of the things that I like to point out to people is exit strategy. People think they're going to leave a corporate job, making six figures, step into a business, make six figures. And that may not be the case, right? You're going to need to hustle, you're going to need to work, you may need to have multiple units. But, the icing on the cake is when you grow that business and you've got, cash flow, positive revenue coming in, and you want to build a business to sell it, that's where you're going to reap your benefits. And people are very short-sighted to think about that. They think about the immediate future. They don't think about what's going to happen when they get ready to sell. And people look for existing businesses. There are a lot of people that don't want to do the heavy lifting. That's what I call it, building a business, heavy lifting. We both
Right.
know what that is. So if they can find an existing business that's got positive cash flow, the team is all built, the branding's there, reputation's there, that's when the current owner can step out of it, somebody takes it over, and they cash out.
Perfect way to describe it. So somebody came to me and they were 50 years old and they lost their high-powered executive corporate job, and they were asking my help to get them another type of job like that. And I said, well, let me plant a seed with you here. Let's say you do that job for 15 years. When you sell that job, how much are you going to make when you sell the job? And they said, well, don't be silly. You don't sell a job. I said, yeah. But if you poured it into a franchise, you get to sell the franchise. And it's a proven money-making machine. And you'll take people in and say, I want you to see my money-making machine. And it doesn't need me to make money. I check in on it and do things, but I don't operate the money-making machine. Would you like to own my money-making machine? And that's also to build your wealth, not only a stream of revenue now, but something you could cash out and sell later. Okay, well, let's get into the what. I want to, a lot of people would be curious, well, what does she do? It must cost a lot of money to hire you to help find a franchise. How does that work?
There is no fee to work with me. I know that's hard to believe. I tell people this every day on my intro calls when I meet people for the first time over Zoom. And I am paid a finder's fee by the franchise companies. So, in a sense, a really good analogy is a high level recruiter. I think that most people resonate with that, that we're looking to place people based on skill set, their market, their investment level, their net worth matters, how liquid they are matters. And we want to match people up with the franchise that is going to suit them best. I have a perfect example today. I have a woman in Massachusetts. She worked with another coach a year and a half ago, and the brands that she was presented with just didn't interest her. So she went back to corporate America. She recently left her job to take care of her father, and somehow she was referred to me. And I actually presented the brands to her today, and she said, "Oh my gosh, Liz, you listened to me. You actually took the time. The other person did not." And we both were so excited. She's looking for something in the senior care industry, and she's been taking care of her dad with memory care. So I personalize my approach. I want to find out what they want from this business. Is it flexibility? Is it purpose? Is it passion? Are we looking to make money? We all are, right? But some people are in obviously different brackets. But I think more importantly with Mary today, we gave her a skills assessment. It's complimentary. And she and I were just looking at it, and she needs a business that's purpose driven, mission driven, where she is helping people. That's what hers came back with. Her core competencies are strong across the board, but I needed to find her a business. And that's either education, healthcare, mental health. There's so many categories that I won't take the time to go into. I work with 700 brands, by the way, which is a lot. But I personalize my approach with everybody, and they really appreciate it.
Liz, you struck me as different, just like another person who I've worked with in this field struck me as different. As there's some people, I would say, um, they have something called my plan for your money, and they're just out there to make a money from the um, franchise company and all that. But you're really a matchmaker. I think you used that word. Some of my relatives would call you a business yenta. Other people would say a matchmaker, that you want a good match. You want that person happy. You want to have good referrals and advocates where people would say, "Oh, you really need to talk to Liz about this." So, brava for working on that reputation. Well,
Thank
let's
you.
go to the rainmaking. Um, how do you make it rain for Liz?
A couple of different ways. I think one of the pieces for me, and I did share this in my book, by the way. I've read all of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, and definitely a fan of him and his approach, his diversification with portfolios. But he has a cash flow quadrant book, and I feel that we've been able to emulate that model, and I share it with people. I shared my story in the book. And if you can, again, as you mentioned earlier in the show today, you don't want to have all of the eggs in one basket. You want to spread them out. It's smart because we don't know what's going to happen in the world. We don't know about the stock market. So, we've been able to make it rain for our family and building a family legacy. We're self-made. We didn't come from money. So we have had to make it rain. Entrepreneurship's been kind of in my blood. I grew up on a farm, and I was working at probably age 5 and never stopped. But diversification real estate, we had a self-storage business. We had that for many years. We sold that. Our first business was a child care center. That was a startup from the ground up. That was an amazing experience. We opened in a recession. So all of these experiences I share with you that taught me how to make it rain more efficiently, if you will, and work smarter, not harder. So I don't know if that answers what you're looking for.
Oh, it helps. Oh, and Liz, we have that farm background, but you trumped me. I was officially hired to work on the family farm at the age of 6, and my salary was 15 cents a week. And I'll never forget my what we would call the HR orientation lecture on the first day. Just an amazing thing, which I think my grandfather gave my father, and my grandfather's grandfather gave his father. So it's just Dutch dairy farmers passing it down the line. Um, oh, by the way, it wasn't until I shared that story publicly at my father's eulogy that it struck me that my father did not need a 6-year-old to help him run his business. He was training a 6-year-old to run a business one day, and it started with that first lecture. Okay, so tell people, you've casually mentioned the book, but I want you to blatantly plug the book like they do on late night talk shows. What's the name of your book, Liz?
The name of the book is Your Franchise Fast Pass, and it is an essential guide to helping you find the business of your dreams. So that's really why I wrote the book and what the book is about. So we had to shorten the subtitle, but it's a guide to help you find the business that you want. And really the foundation of that book, which I'd love to share with you, is I built an educational portal. I'm an educator by college, and I built an educational portal for my candidates to at least be able to see. I'm very visual. I wanted them to be able to see, how do you investigate franchise brands, right? This is like a learning management system. It's very simple. So we put that together, and then I thought, oh my gosh, I need to write a book about this. I've been dreaming about writing a book. Why not do it? Mid-50s, let's get it done. So set out to write a book last year. The portal is mentioned in the book, but that is the foundation of that book, is education. I just want to emphasize that because that's really important to me, because when you're looking for a business, you want to be well educated, you want to get the facts, you want to make a good decision, you need to have a good support team in terms of, whatever, financial people, franchise expert like myself. You need to be able to get funding. We put all those pieces together for people. So the book is really a little bit about my story, but the best part about the book is we interviewed franchisees, and they are unbelievable. And in fact, a couple of them, I didn't choose them for this reason, but there are many of them that have hit the $1 Million Club. And so, obviously to their own hard work. And I'm very proud of them. So I've got males, females, I've got investors in there. We introduced a lot of funding companies in the book too. So there's just a lot of great stuff in the book. So ton of resources. Of course, I already mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad is one of my favorite pieces. So he's in there too. But the book, again, education, it is to empower people to take the time to learn, is this the right choice for you? It may not be. And that's okay if it's not. Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
So I want to connect 3 dots here for the viewers. And there's just 3 powerful things you shared in there. Number one, my point of view is a book is the number one marketing tool to make you an authority. And you want to be an authority in your space. You can't spell the word authority without the word author. And it's not easy putting a book together. Liz has been through a struggle to get it written and prepared, and that's the struggle of an author. That's why everybody isn't an author. But and she got some good help along the way. Okay, number 2 is that process. Clients and prospects find process comforting. A proprietary process, one you created, one that's your own. And Liz's book spells out the process. Her website and everything she's done on the back end is all a part of a process. So what is your process? How do you onboard clients? How do you help them solve their problems? If you don't have a process right now, I suggest you get one fast. And then 3 is she's an educating expert, and educator by training and just naturally. And that's the secret to attracting right fit prospects, is that we're educators. We help them with information on how to solve their problems in general. And then they hire us for the specifics. So if you got all this great information about finding a franchise, who are you going to trust to actually go through it? One of those people who have a plan for your money, or somebody who was building trust by helping you, giving valuable information, being generous in what she's doing. Liz, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you and your time sharing this. And that's all the time we have for today. So until next time, make it rain.